Welcome my dear students of class 9A and 9B to my history class. Today's points, the same topic, the Mughal Empire, chapter number 9 points, causes for the decline of the Mughals. First point, now what are the causes? Policy of Aurangzeb, drawbacks of the Monsanto system, corrupt administration, rise of independent regional kingdoms. These are the points. First one, policy of Aurangzeb. How far was Aurangzeb responsible for the disintegration of the Mughal dynasty? Aurangzeb was fully responsible for the disintegration of the Mughal dynasty because no other rulers of the Mughal dynasty committed any kind of offense, any kind of mistakes what Aurangzeb had committed or had done. Why I am telling it? Why I am telling it to you? Why I am telling you so? Because Aurangzeb adopted wrong policy. His ancestors followed a policy of neutrality. They realized that India was a country of Hindu majority people, so they should be treated equally. They should be given many privileges so that they could accept the Mughals to be their ruler. They could lead a very happy life. That's why they maintain a system, a balance between themselves and the countrymen. But what Aurangzeb had done was wrong. Why? Because his religious policy had become a great cause of the disintegration of the Mughal dynasty. Why? Because he reimposed jizya on non-Muslims. Jizya was exempted by Akbar once upon a time. And by exempting jizya, Akbar gained respect from the countrymen. But Aurangzeb, he was on the verge of disintegration, on the verge of collapse. But still, he committed such mistake. And not only that, he broke the healthy relationship between the Mughals and other Indian rulers. Naturally, almost all Indian rulers, almost all Indian states considered him to be their enemies, and Aurangzeb also. Aurangzeb also himself considered the local Indian rulers to be his enemies. That's why he declared war against them one by one. The nobles who were not paid salaries, irregular paying salary, created discontentment among them. Royal treasury had become almost empty because Indian states, they stopped paying revenues to the royal treasury of the Mughals. And as a result of it, almost all people left all hopes from Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb had nothing to do anything for the welfare of the people. Aurangzeb was unable to maintain a large kingdom which was extended by himself due to lack of administrative policy, administrative skill. He failed to control the entire parts of the country. Today, there was a rebellion in one state. When he went to suppress it, he heard that other states also organized revolts against him. So he had to lose valuable moments while suppressing the revolts of the nobles, while suppressing the revolts of the Indian rulers. It was not possible to him to suppress all their rebellions at a time. It was time consuming. That's why he had to face a lot of problems. In spite of being an eminent person, a Mughal ruler, the Indian rulers had no respect for him. Why? Because he never believed anyone else, but only himself. His narrow-mindedness obstructed the way of all his developments. That's why he could not achieve success as a ruler of Mughal dynasty. Drawbacks of the Mansabdari system. The Mansabdari system, which was introduced by Akbar during the reign of Aurangzeb, it was an utter failure. Why? Because a number of Mansabdars were being increased and no land was left for providing it to the Mansabdars. Only the royal lands were there, but royal lands, by giving it to the Mansabdars, royal land also were left. There was no royal lands for the Mansabdars. So, Mansabdars also revolted against Aurangzeb. Why? Because that system introduced by Akbar, Mansabdars led a very steady life, a very prosperous life, but during the last half of the rule of Aurangzeb, they had no happiness. They had many grievances. That's why due to these grievances, Mansabdari system had become very difficult to keep a check. Aurangzeb decided to keep a check on them. Why? Because Mansabdars declared, Mansabdars were organizing revolts, agitations against the rule of Aurangzeb. And not only that, the zagirs which are paid to the Mansabdars, when there were not enough zagirs left, royal land was distributed, which adversely affected the revenue of the empire, because the royal treasury during the reign of Aurangzeb had become almost empty. Local rulers stopped paying taxes and revenues. They declared themselves to be independent. Naturally, Aurangzeb remained busy in suppressing their revolts, their rebellions. And another factor, that was corrupt administration. During the reign of Aurangzeb, his administrative officers and workers, officials who were working in his administration, they all had become corrupted. And these corrupt officers created problems for him. The nobility of the administration became corrupt and lacked the capability to govern and administer a region. That's why Aurangzeb was unable to maintain peace. Aurangzeb failed to maintain the entire system of administration throughout the country because of its extendment. Undoubtedly, he extended a large kingdom, but he was unable to maintain it because there was no good discipline in the administrative system, in the military system, in the system of collecting taxes and revenues. Everywhere, Aurangzeb failed to establish his influence as Mughal ruler. And next point, rise of independent regional kingdoms. During the reign of Aurangzeb, as I mentioned earlier, a number of independent kingdoms raised their voices. They stopped paying taxes and declared themselves to be independent. They started collecting taxes and revenues from their people independently, but not a single amount of money they sent to the royal treasury of the Mughals. It became a great cause of disintegration. Aurangzeb grew offended, but he was unable to do it. And who was the first kingdom showed the pathway of ignoring the rule of the Mughals under Aurangzeb? They were the Marathas. That's why Aurangzeb decided to teach the Marathas a good lesson. But ultimately, he stayed 26 years during the last half of his reign at Deccan while crushing the revolts of the Marathas or while teaching the Marathas, but he was unable to defeat them. Once they were defeated, they raised their voice against Aurangzeb further. Once they were defeated to the western front, the eastern front also raised their voice against Aurangzeb. Another group of soldiers also were waiting to fight against Aurangzeb. So while chasing them from western frontier to eastern frontier and from eastern frontier to western frontier, Aurangzeb became very much tired, and huge amount of money he had to spend while suppressing the revolts of the Marathas. Why? Because guerrilla warfare method, which was introduced by Shivaji, his successors had been following it. And this application in the system of warfare resulted in a great success against Aurangzeb. The Marathas achieved. But Aurangzeb could not understand as to how he would crush the revolts of the Marathas. Although the Marathas had no unity among themselves, but a number of groups were there who decided to antagonize the rule of Aurangzeb, individually. That's why a number of groups attacked anonymously and collectively. Individually they started attacking. That's why Aurangzeb had to face a lot of problem for each and every group. He had to take initiative from time to time so that all the groups which were scattered here and there to fight against the enemy, against the soldiers of Aurangzeb, they must be defeated. They all must be defeated by Aurangzeb. But Aurangzeb failed to defeat them. Because so many groups were there from the Maratha, from Maharashtra. As a result, Aurangzeb had to suffer a lot. So these were the reasons, my dear students. So many reasons also are there for the disintegration of the Mughal Empire. Up to this I taught you today. Next day, the other reasons why was the Mughal Empire disintegrated. Thank you.